The Maine People Podcast, available everywhere. Click subscribe so you never miss an episode. In this episode of the Maine People Podcast, we're continuing the last episode with Ty from Haunt Me, a Maine-based paranormal exploration group. 9 seasons into their TV show. You can watch it on YouTube or on their website. You can find all the links for that in the comments and on our YouTube page. But Ty was telling some stories about investigations outside of the state of Maine, even though many of their seasons have been inside the state of Maine. One in particular happening in Vassalboro that was his favorite haunt ever, his favorite investigation ever, and probably the most emotional one you've ever seen in a paranormal TV show. Interesting people, interesting stories. Remember, brought to you by Chubby Dog Coffee. So use the promo code BELLA to take 15% off your first order and get your coffee delivered to your home. Whether it's ground or whole bean, you can get Chubby Dog Coffee. This is the French roast, dark roasted coffee, smoky, bold, richly sweet. Also in the house of my order, I got 2 bags of Order 66 dark Uganda bean coffee, rustic and bold with subtle fruit notes. You can get yours, chubbydogcoffee.com. Get the link and use the promo code BELLA to help support this program you're watching right now. Let's pick up the story we were talking with Ty from Haunt Me about the very special, most haunted place in Maine in Vassalboro. I want to jump to a Maine story in Vassalboro, and Ty, you can explain this to me when the Haunt Me crew went to this, allegedly one of the most haunted places in Maine. Because, of course, most of your investigations, most of your episodes took place in Maine. You've expanded, in the last couple seasons, but Maine was certainly a focus.
Right, definitely. And so, we shared 2 clips of what we've done in New York. It was a cool opportunity to be able to leave the state. But Haunt Me started because there's so much legend and lore available to us in this amazing state. It's so big. People have been telling stories for centuries. That's really how the show started, was to let's go categorize and explore all of these legends. And so one of those legends is the Vassalboro Mill Agent House and accompanying mill. It has a great history. It's amazing how much history is still accessible to learn the actual factual stories that are going into these places, which is what I'm mostly all about. But one of the less factual stories attached to this house is that there's a spirit there that a psychic had told us after our first time going to Vassalboro that though we swept the house for as many connections as we could make with the other side, we missed this one. And that psychic, his name's Chip Coffee. He's fairly well known, and we had him on our show via Skype when we decided that we wanted to go back to see if there was any unfinished business that we could explore on this return to the Mill Agent House. And he told us that the first time we were there, we missed a spirit named Samson, or some derivative of that name. He was an African-American spirit that felt like he wasn't deserving of heaven, but was too afraid to cross over in case that he might go to hell. That was what the psychic had told us. So this Chip Coffee had kind of given us the instructions to go back into the house, and if we wanted to do good work, to look specifically for Sam and to let him know that he was worthy of his religion and to cross over. It was his time. It's way past his time. And we would recognize him by the fact that the spirit still walks with a limp, which is really eerie and kind of made my blood run cold. Because in the first time that we investigated, it doesn't translate well to camera, but we certainly knew that there was a spirit coming towards Ashley and I when we were in the children's playroom, walking down the 2nd floor wood hallway with a step and a drag, and a step and a drag. And so that hit us immediately, like this could be who he's talking about. So I don't know how much backstory you want here, John, but the psychic professional had told us, all he wants is someone to pray with him. And so one of the most important people to me in my life had been my grandmother, and she had recently passed away. She had passed away. This would have been 2016, and she had passed away in 2015. And ever since that she passed away, there was some discrepancies in the family over her belongings and whatnot. And the only thing that I ever really wanted from her was her Bible. because in that was her handwriting, her notes. She was so devoutly Christian that, like, I remember sleepovers. I'd wake up in the morning and we'd have breakfast, and she would crack that Bible open, and we would read some chapters. And it was just such a good memory for me to have, and such a powerful artifact that I just didn't want it to get lost. And I had asked for it from my family, and that request had gone into the abyss, since she had passed away. So the psychic didn't know about any of that. And he also didn't know about the fact that 2 days before we spoke, my family relinquished the Bible to me. And so
Wow.
I was thinking in my head, I was like, oh, the psychic wants us to pray with this person. And I was literally just handed this artifact that I would never thought that I would come into possession of my grandmother. And so I married the two ideas of, let's find him and, let's read some verses from my grandmother's Bible. So that we spent the whole night looking for him, and we had a lot of great activity, but we didn't have a single hint of Sam until around 30 minutes before we had to wrap our investigation. I pleaded for him to reach out to us. And I think that's the beginning of this clip right here.
Okay.
And to tee it up a little bit, he sure does, in a way that I probably will never experience again in my life. And this is, if nothing else happens for me in the paranormal, this was the best moment of my entire career.
You'll see why. Let's watch this clip.
So we want to make sure that we're in the right area for you so that we can have a discussion about heaven and why you deserve it.
I just heard a man's voice say, I don't know if you guys heard that.
You do, Sam. You do deserve it.
Everyone does, Sam, you included.
You do.
That's an EMF detector in the next
Sam,
room,
we're
letting
coming
us
to
know
you.
that something
All right, here we come, Sam.
We're
close
coming.
to
You
it.
just stay right where you are. Oh my God, you guys. Can I get the book?
Yeah, I got a Bible. Sam?
Sam, just stay
Hi,
right there.
Sam.
Stay right there, Sam. I have
we're
a Bible.
Is it okay if we approach
Here,
you?
I'm going to stay back here just because.
I'm coming over, Sam. Don't worry, I'm right here. Carol has my grandmother's Bible. We're gonna talk.
You know it takes a lot for these things to go off.
So
Sam,
in a minute,
ooh.
we're gonna fast forward here
Look at that.
towards the end, because this is a really long clip. It's fascinating, but it's really long for the podcast, and I want people to watch this on your episode anyway. As you pull out the Bible and you pray with Sam and you read one of the Psalms, I believe, and when you get a little further into the clip, something really remarkable for you, for Sam, and for the viewers happens. But I don't want you to explain it yet, Ty. I just want to see it.
O you gates, lift up the everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in.
Amen.
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 How do you feel, Sam?
There's anyone who wants to can walk away. They can go into the light. The light is there for all of you.
It's there for all of us. That's why it's there. You deserve better than this place and this earth. We're here tonight to let you know there is better. And you deserve it, and you should go there. And one day all of us will join you.
No one that lived with you on earth could ever tell you your worth. You deserve everything.
You're such a good person.
If you had anyone in life say something awful to you, you're free. Oh my God.
And he's gone.
Oh my God.
That's a pretty overwhelming experience for you in this episode, and just rewatching it, reliving it, and talking about it. I can tell, and I can see why.
Yeah.
I love you guys.
I love you guys.
Easily the most
Let's go
powerful
home.
experience you ever had.
Easily.
All right, you mother. Get over here. Hug it out.
Oh my God, you guys.
So that's what makes your show different than the rest, isn't it?
I like to think so. It's never for us. It's about the connections that we make with people that we can't see. At the beginning of Haunt Me, it was all about evidence collection and what's the scariest thing that we can put ourselves through. And shows online shows on TV have already done that. It's very scary. There's plenty of places for you to get fear on TV. And that's really not our intent anymore. And I think this moment really helped out with that. It reprogrammed me, at least. I can't speak for the other people, but I feel like they'd agree that in this moment, we even changed our rating system. We have a scale of 1 to 10, and 1 was like nothing, and then 10 was always like bloodthirsty. And this episode made us change it, where like a 10, the most extreme activity that we've ever experienced, was also one of the most impactful experiences that I'll ever have in a positive sense. So I say that, and I'm a little bit right now, because just watching that again, I'm a companion crier, and apparently it works for me if I'm watching myself cry again. But I think what really needs to come through in that clip is that how hard it is to make one of those machines go off even for a moment in the first place. And that EMF detector went off for 6 minutes straight. Which I could rule out as a false positive. But what doesn't come across in that clip, and if you watch the episode, you'll hear it much more clearly, is that it wasn't just that one piece of equipment that was reacting. Every alarm that we had set up in the house was going off at the same time. They all ended slowly, ending with that one. And the thing that won't come across in the podcast or the episode, and what I think we react the most emotionally, is that the feeling in the room changed.
Yeah.
First, there was a feeling that there's someone else there with us, that we were doing really good work. And I know all of us had the hope that maybe we could do something as legendary as crossing someone over. And I don't want to ever say that I did. But I would also say that at the beginning of that session and the end of it, it felt like there was one less person in our group.
What a crazy episode. What an emotional roller coaster for you and for everybody else there. So thanks for sharing it. Thanks for sharing the inside view, the story behind the story, as it were.
Thank you for caring about the paranormal. Yeah. I want to thank you, because we don't get to talk about stuff like this. I never get to do an interview where people don't want to hear the fear. And so I just really want to say
crazy ghost stories, isn't it? It's more than just crazy ghost stories.
It has to be at the bottom. They're there, but
there's nothing wrong with hearing those. Ty is from Haunt Me. You want to check out all the episodes? You can see them. We'll link up. You can find Haunt Me. What's the website again? I forgot.
www.haunt-me.com.
Yeah, so we'll have the link in the comments, and all the YouTube videos and everything else. So give a follow there. I appreciate it. Thanks, Ty, and all of you for your 9 seasons of great episodes. Appreciate it.
Oh my gosh. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for this wonderful conversation to just hopefully expand people's minds a little bit further beyond the fear factor of the paranormal.
The Maine People Podcast, available everywhere. Click subscribe so you never miss an episode.